Okay, great. Again, thank you very much for joining me today. This is Ed Falstrom with AdvisoryWorld. Please keep in mind that what we're going through today will be saved, recorded, and posted to our AdvisoryWorld tile within Fusion Advisor Workstation. As mentioned before, the purpose of this call, and you should all be able to see my screen, is to take you through AdvisoryWorld's reporting capabilities, which we have enabled for you through Fusion Advisor Workstation. So as you can see my screen right now, I'm within Fusion Advisor Workstation. I have a demo account set up here. Now, AdvisoryWorld has a tile within Fusion to where if I click on this, you can find any information on our company, on our integrations with TradePMR, sample reports, as well as recordings of this demo and demos that we hold in the future. Now, to generate our reports through Fusion Advisor Workstation, let me back up for a second and give you a little history about AdvisoryWorld. What advisors are using AdvisoryWorld for is really going to be that alternative to Morningstar. So we are providing you with portfolio analytics, diversification metrics, proposal generation, and a little bit of investment planning. So you're really going to be utilizing our reporting capabilities to analyze what a client or prospect currently has, as well as comparing that versus one of your recommended allocations. So now to show you how to, the reports that you have enabled through Fusion Advisor Workstation, I can simply click Accounts. And you're going to notice here that with literally a few clicks of the mouse, you're going to have diversification metrics and portfolio analytics at your fingertips that you have not had at this point or up until this point. So now I click an account number. You'll see all of your account numbers are hyperlinked. Now within this account number tab, I would simply go to Positions. When I click on Positions, you're going to see two new buttons that you guys, everyone on the call is already enabled with this functionality. So after the call, please go in there and test it out. But you'll see this Holding Scan and Fact Sheet button. Okay, so the Holding Scan is going to give you the ability to generate our reports on the account level. So in this case, I'm looking at the aggregate of all of these positions. We are going to run analysis based on the longest common time horizon of the positions within the portfolio using back-tested hypothetical performance. Also on this report are going to be a lot of very important diversification metrics. Okay, so as you see here, I have a completely white-labeled report that's come up, built directly through Fusion with TradePMR's branding. You would have the ability to customize any of these colors. But first here, we're going to look at the diversification metrics. I've got an asset pie chart. Now in this instance, this asset pie chart is broken down on the asset class level. Within our full application, which we're going to touch on in a moment, you would have the ability to have that allocation broken down by either asset class, actual investment, subcategory, or category. This macro allocation table is great because this gives us the ability to look under the hood of the investments within the portfolio. So I have the ability now to straight through Fusion Advisor Workstation, generate this report, and I can look within the mutual funds or within the ETFs or within the SMAs that are owned within this account to give an overall equity, fixed income, cash convertible breakdown. Trailing performance over that specified time period. You see in this instance we're going back to 2000. Risk versus return. A few basic MPT statistics. Best and worst case 3-month, 1- and 3-year periods. Equity and fixed income properties, average expense ratio, top 10 sectors, top 10 countries, and then as we get down to top 10 equity holdings, this is where I would have the ability to show overlap. Now in this instance, this account doesn't have any overlap, but here we would be able to demonstrate something to the effect of a client owning Microsoft not only as an individual equity position, but we would have the ability to show that that position is also held within SPY, Contra Fund, Growth Fund of America, etc. So this is an example of our holding scan report. Again, reporting on the aggregate of the holdings within an account. Now I have the ability to generate any fact sheets on any underlying securities. Okay, so if I clicked right here, I would be able to bring up any of our one-page investment fact sheets on mutual funds, equities, ETFs, closed-end funds, VA sub-accounts, separately managed accounts, you name it. We cover everything besides UITs, preferred stocks, and non-publicly traded REITs. So we're able to run an analytics on even individual bonds. We have an individual bond database of over 4 million positions that are updated daily. So this will take just a moment. Now, if I didn't want to run an entire group of fact sheets on this, maybe I had somebody come in and I just wanted to run a quick fact sheet on this PIMCO fund, I can just click on this hyperlink and then run the fact sheet there. That would just limit the fact sheets that I'm running to one. And I'll show you that in a moment. So here we now have an individual equity fact sheet on GE. Every position will automatically be classified for you by Lipper, as that is the data provider for the majority of our data, and then compared versus its benchmark. So trailing performance, MPT statistics here, so everything basic from standard deviation, alpha, beta, Sharpe to max drawdown, and up and down market capture. As we continue down, you'll see a fund fact sheet. So this is on a bond fund. Oh no, I'm sorry, emerging markets fund, emerging market bond fund. Again, classified for you and compared versus its benchmark. Now this macro allocation table, where we'd seen that rolled up on the account level, we now show that we can do this on the individual securities. Also, what we're providing here are rankings. We're not going to provide any sort of commentary or ratings as part of our reporting. Okay, we're not going to tell you something is a 2-star fund today and a 4-star fund tomorrow without any explanation as to why. But I'm going to have the ability to show you how this fund has stood up against its peers over different time periods, which I think is very valuable information. And now on another fund, again, trailing performance versus benchmark, equity properties, top 10 holdings, etc. Again, these reports can be run directly through Fusion with a couple clicks of the mouse. So to run reports on the aggregate, I use the holding scan, and to run them on the individual level, but as a group, I clicked on fact sheets. Now, if I want to just run a quick fact sheet on this fund, I click on the ticker. Now, up until now, this was the extent of the analysis provided to you on the individual security level. Well, now I can click on this fact sheet button. When I click on fact sheet, I'm going to bring up the same fact sheet that you had seen as part of that group of investments, but now just this one by itself, so a single fact sheet. Again, everything that you're doing through here can be completely white labeled for you, and here's that single fact sheet. Okay, and again, if anyone has any questions, please use the chat log. At this time, I have disabled the chat feature, or I've muted everyone just to avoid any sort of background noise. But please, I encourage you to use the chat feature with any questions. So just to kind of reiterate everything that I have gone through here through Fusion, upon logging into Fusion, I can either go to the AdvisoryWorld tile for any updates on our partnership or integrations, recordings of webinars like this one that we are going to be hosting, as well as sample reports and pricing. Now, to take advantage of our reporting, we would simply go to Accounts, click on an account number, and then generate either a holding scan or fact sheets. So I hope that that's all clear. Again, we're really excited about that. Now, at this point, I'm going to take you through the functionality of our Scanalytics program. Now, Scanalytics is going to be an alternative to Morningstar's Workstation at literally half the cost. We would have the ability to pull your client data directly from Fusion. So in this instance, we're pulling data into our application rather than pushing our reporting through Fusion. The benefit of this is a little more flexibility on the reports, as you can imagine. We're going to have some additional reports that you'll have access to that you don't through Fusion. But a big thing about this tool that you're going to be using is the comparative analysis. being able to import what a client currently has from either TradePMR, for those of you who are using Redtail or eMoney, analyzing that current portfolio, and then comparing it versus a recommended model. In this instance, though, I want to show you how I can get a prospects account in there, because a lot of you are going to be taking advantage of this tool's functionality to bring in new business. In that case, that information will not be within Fusion. So in that case, I'm logging into my account. I click New Hypothetical. Now, the prospect sitting across my desk has got just a handful of positions. Let's say that he's got four positions here. Let's say 5 to make it easy. I click Find. So whether it's a mutual fund, an ETF, or an equity position, I can put in all the tickers, separating them by commas. They come up very quickly. I can also screen by or for positions. The next tab is where we're going to allocate this. So again, I'm looking at this statement. I have this set as a portfolio of investments. Now, I can simply point and click here and put in the current values of the positions that they own. All right, easy enough, right? Now, for some reason, this guy had 200 positions. I could upload those from Excel. Now, something really important is the time horizon being used for analysis. Okay, the time horizon will always default to the longest common time horizon amongst the assets within the portfolio. Now, in this instance, we can go back to 93, but I can also specify if I'd like to run analysis over the last 1, 3, 5, if I have enough history, 10 or 15 years, or I can set any custom date from this date until yesterday's close, because all of these positions are updated daily within our application. Here's somewhere I can put in fees. So maybe they're getting charged 25 basis points quarterly. I can either go one by one, but to save some time, I could go to Apply Global Settings, 25 basis points quarterly, and then I'm waiving all sales charges because I'm assuming these are all going to be wrapped up in the wrap fee. So up to you. Do you want to show their fees? Do you want to show this gross of fees? It's up to you. Cash flow tab, this is where I would have the ability to put in historical cash flows, maybe showing someone the benefits of contributing 12 grand on January 1st versus $1,000 a month. Maybe I want to show dollar cost averaging, but it would all be historical. So first, I want to look at their, actually we've already looked at their current account, so I'm going to show you the comparative analysis. We can do that with our Compariscan, our detailed analytics, or our allocation analysis, but I want to focus on our allocation analysis because I want to show you the flexibility and the ability that you will have to tailor these reports to whoever you're presenting to. So I'll click Parameters. You're going to see within here that I can select a recommended portfolio. So in this case, I've got a model set up. Any of your recommended models or blends would be populated here so that you can quickly go grab them. I'll label this as current, this is proposed, and you'll see within the sections, every section will have a checkbox next to it that says display section. If I wanted to eliminate a particular section, I could just uncheck this box. Or within the section itself, I can really, again, tailor this report to whoever I'm presenting to, because I'm not going to offer the same canned report to every one of my clients, even how it's laid out. So a lot of different information in here to choose from. Maybe I've got the engineer coming in and they want to look at their up and down market capture and max drawdown. Macro allocation, sector allocation that we've already seen in the report through Fusion, but now we can show that on a comparative level as well as versus the allocation of the S&P and the Barclay Ag. And then here's that overlap analysis. So I'm going to click Save, Build Report. And again, what you're going to see is a completely white-labeled PDF that is really going to help set yourself apart from the guy down the street using Morningstar reports. And here we are. All right. So now we've already seen that we can run reports through Fusion on the individual account level. So now what I want to do here is run comparative analysis. So I'm looking at showing them that this is where they currently are, this is what I'm recommending. So I'm cutting their risk almost by, into more than in half, let's say, and I'm increasing their return. Now the next page is going to show me the adjustments that need to be made to get from current to proposed. How am I lowering your volatility or risk and increasing your return? Well, I'm going from 90% to 13% in equity. I'm going from 60% down to 13% in large cap growth. Now keep in mind, if you don't want to share the secret sauce with this prospect, you don't want them to just take this allocation down to Scottrade, you can just have this displayed on the category level, so just showing on that equity alternatives fixed income level. Point is, here we have the ability to show the adjustments needed to be made to get from current to proposed. Trailing performance, current versus proposed versus each of their weighted asset class benchmarks. Again, those blended benchmarks are created for you on the fly based on the current composition of the portfolio that you're in. So we're automatically creating that best fit benchmark for you. Best and worst case 3-month, 1- and 3-year periods. Risk versus return. So you're able to sit there with the client or prospect and say, this is where you currently are. This is what I'm recommending. And then if you'd like to get a little more granular in your analysis, I can look at the return, standard deviation. I can show them by looking at the Sharpe ratio that I'm almost getting 4 times the amount of return for the amount of risk that I'm taking. Look at the alpha that I'm generating this. But something really important that a lot of our clients are utilizing right now is max drawdown. And I'm able to show this prospect that in 2008, when their portfolio crashed to the tune of 47% to the downside, that we were never lower than 18. So I think that that's very powerful. As we continue down, equity and fixed income properties, current versus proposed versus the S&P, current versus proposed versus the Barclay Ag, macro allocation, we have sector allocation versus the S&P. And I do have a couple questions that have come in that I can answer shortly. Overlap analysis. So what I'm showing them by looking at this report is that not only do you own Microsoft as an individual equity position making up 10% of your portfolio, but that it's also held within SPY, Growth Fund of America, Contra Fund, and First Eagle Global. So basically you own Microsoft across the board, or that Amazon is in these 3 products, Facebook, Google, etc. And then what we're recommending literally has no overlap. So we've got a lot more diversification. Okay? So now that is everything that I wanted to take you through right now. I'm first going to answer the questions that have come in via the chat log, and then I can open it up for any additional questions. First, somebody had asked, does the application work in all browsers? Of course. You're able to use Internet Explorer, Chrome, Firefox, Safari. You can work with it on your tablets. I work with it on my phone all the time. Okay. Somebody asked, is there a way to pull up sheets for positions that are not currently in portfolios? That's a great question. I did gloss over that, so thank you. We do have the ability to generate our investment fact sheets on any individual product. So right when you would log into our system, you'll see this search button. You're going to see screener, search, so I can either import accounts, screen for positions. If I go to search, I can just, again, put those tickers in separate in my commas, and I'm going to generate this report. So what I hope that you're seeing is that it's very intuitive, it's very fast, and it's very flexible. Okay? Somebody had asked what the cost is. The cost for this application, so the reports, and this will soon be posted to the AdvisoryWorld tile within Fusion, the reporting through Fusion, so the reporting on the account level as well as the investment level directly through Fusion Advisor Workstation will be $45 a month. The ability to log in, directly through our website into this application and take advantage of the comparative analysis, the screening, the portfolio optimization, etc., is $105 a month. Now, those are discounted rates for TradePMR reps. Somebody is asking whether they're total returns or whether are they actual or hypothetical. So by default, the returns in our system are back-tested hypothetical performance. So the same thing you'd be getting from a Morningstar. We're taking that current allocation, and we are back-testing it hypothetically. Now, these can be net or gross of fees. We do offer support. So somebody asked if we have support available. We have a number of great members of our support team. So you would always have the ability to email support@advisoryworld.com. We also have direct lines using extensions 105, 106, and a couple of others, but we do have a number of great support members on our team that are going to be happy to work with you. Are there any other questions? Okay, one moment. Let me actually unmute everyone here. Somebody asked, okay. All right, I really apologize. I actually muted myself, so everyone can hear me now, I'm sure. So yes, training video is available through Fusion. This will be posted on the tile. The tile within Fusion is active now. Right now I'm running the comparative analysis, so I explained this and I apologize, I was muted. But this would be the process of comparing. I'm showing two investments, two funds versus one another, but to answer Mark Kuhl's question, yes, you would be able to compare two SMAs versus one another. Again, this video will be saved, recorded, and attached as part of the AdvisoryWorld tile within Fusion. Okay. Somebody had asked, Doug has asked about the ETF positions. This will look at ETFs and closed-end funds as well, the complete universe. So mutual funds, ETFs, closed-ends, SMAs, equities, etc. Okay. Are there any other questions? If so, please use the chat log. I tried to unmute people. There's a little bit of feedback. One last question, it looks like that's here, is do we have individual client accounts, personalized rate of return based on purchase? Showing actual performance, we would have the ability to upload historical trades or allocations. Now keep in mind, this system here is going to be back-tested hypothetical. To run the performance on a client's account, you will do that through Fusion Advisor Workstation. But we can. And yes, somebody asked if we can keep the TradePMR logo. Of course, that logo is going to be on there for all of you by default. If you would like to add your own, you would have the ability to do that as well. Again, just reiterating, the program is very flexible. So I'm pretty much wanting to show you all the kitchen sink right now, and what you'd like to focus on or utilize is up to you. But just know that the reports within our system directly, you have a lot of flexibility. They can be completely white labeled. You'll see here all the parameters that you can choose from. So you really have the ability to make these reports your own, whether it's the branding, the parameters, whatever you'd like. So you're making this your own report, tailoring it to whoever you are presenting to. So that is all I have for today. You can all reach me at 800-480-3888. My extension is 103. Again, this is Ed Falstrom. We have a great support team to be happy to help at support@advisoryworld.com. Otherwise, I look forward to talking with you all soon. Unless there are any other questions, I really appreciate you taking the time to sit in through this. We're really excited about this partnership and think that it's going to be a great fit for all of you. So have a great rest of your day, and I will look forward to talking with you soon.